Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to a fresh installment of the Baseline Chronicles, the what can we minimally do to make a Enduro SE, like, make it nice, because we know they cut corners. So welcome back to all those coming back. If this is your first time here, I highly recommend you seek it, depending on when you're watching this. You know, I realize that in YouTube, time doesn't exist. Whenever you're watching this, please do seek out the Wheelin' Wednesday installment from January 4th. That is almost, it is exclusively Enduro SE content, and I talk about all of the stuff that went on to get it where it is here. I effectively replaced a bunch of element parts with a bunch of other element parts. Like, you notice there's no fuel cell, etc. We had to make some changes that I would not have anticipated. And when I say we're coming in directly off Wheelin' Wednesday, I mean it. Like, wheeled it in. Let's get this going. Because the goal is never to... Yeah, that motor's warm. Never have to endure the Reedy 16 turn 5 slot again. So let's get the gearbox. Let's get the top of the gearbox popped open. We are going to do a little bit of motor testing in this one. That was partially inspired by the comments. They're like, try this motor, try that motor. We're going to try a couple 5 slots, and I'm going to see if I can't adapt my brain to, if not like them, at least not hate them. We are going to begin with, as was mentioned in the Wheelin' Wednesday episode, we're going to begin by taking out this Reedy 540 16 turn 5 slot and replacing it with this Team Brewed Ravage 16 turn 5 slot. So apples to apples. Then we're going to dig around. I've got to find the rig that it's in, and I'm hoping to find a 45 turn. It's a Hobby Parker and Enduro. Just pops off, right? And I direct solder, so I can't get this too far. But look at this. So we've got an intermediate gear, kind of Capra gearbox style. So you set your mesh while you're holding this in your hand. Like with the Traxxas, it just has the little holes. And still, every time you put it in, particularly if you have a motor can that looks like this with the 4 holes, you're like, did I get it in the right hole? Is it meshing correctly? This might be the easiest to set mesh in the world, because you mesh it to this intermediate gear, and you know that intermediate gear is going to mesh correctly. Get out of there. That is going to mesh correctly with there. It's so good. I'm excited. I will also point out that, much like, I think it's Axial stuff that does it, this has what I would classify as I think Axial calls it a safe D pinion. It's got, the pinion has a D-shaped hole in it. The pinion is also apparently not removable by normal physical means. That's okay. It looks like there's some thread lock on that thing. That's okay. It looks like the hole in the motor plate is more than big enough to get the motor out without messing with the pinion. I intend to change the pinion anyway. Whee! Yeah, I can't. Try a puller? Let's try a puller. Can we get the gear off of this thing? That was really on there. I had mentioned it is wow, it's an 18. 18 is a little big, and the bigness of the 18 is encouraging because, like, you can see the marks from the screw that held it down. We can go way smaller. Like, how far will the motor go over? Yeah, you can go down to whatever the smallest Whatever the smallest you can get, you can go down to that. And you can go up to something crazy. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to dig through the bin, and we're going to answer a question that no one had asked me yet. What are the smallest and biggest pinions that you can fit in an Enduro SE? All right, if you like rock crawler minutia, buckle in. There is the hat that holds it down with the motor mount with the intermediate gear. I would like to point out first that if you have a motor like some have particularly long output shafts on them, this one is pretty long. So generally when there's a pinion on it, I can't even get this thing on. So apparently the 18 tooth that it came with will only fit on that Reedy motor. I can't successfully get it onto anything else. Oh, hello. So when I say long, when I say long shaft, I mean any type that like you can have that much. And basically that's about how the pinion's going to have to be mounted down when it's inside this thing. So the dimension of the cover is such that even if it has the very long shaft, there's still just enough room. So it will clear. You won't have that issue. Like with the TRX4, I've had issues where motors, you have to drill a hole in that little piece. Otherwise the tip of the shaft will come out too far. So for easier illustration, we will pull the hat off. I didn't find any motor in the bin that didn't fit under the cover. So if you're talking about a sealed can, so we've got a sealed can here, we've got another sealed can here. This is the smallest 48 pitch pinion I have on hand, a 12 tooth. With the sealed cans, a 12 tooth, if I get all the way over there, it will just mesh. It's too small. And the reason it's too small, this is a 13. A 13 will mesh just about perfect. A little bit of play in there. The reason is, for whatever reason, I don't know. There's a divine wisdom to it that I don't understand. So the little nubbin on there, whatever the bearing holder, the recess for the bearing is 13 millimeters. I measured across many sealed can motors, and they are effectively 13 millimeters. Now, if you're using a rebuildable, they run a smaller bearing apparently, and they are 11 millimeters. So that 2 millimeters of space will allow you to go. You can run a 12 with this, and you could go smaller. But I'm not 100% sure. Somebody let me know. I'm not 100% sure if do they go smaller than a 12 in 48 pitch? I don't know. If they do, you can definitely go smaller, because this thing, where you can almost touch the shaft of the intermediate gear. So it goes down all the way. And then of course, if you're running anything brushless, the bearing is inside the can. So, I mean, I can't even get it far enough over. That will run whatever. So you can go, depending on your motor, you can go to the smallest pinion that you've got with no problems. This guy will get you to a 13. Any sealed, I know that guys like, where'd they go? I know guys like this are super popular. You know, the sealed can under $20, like Crawlmaster, Sport Trailmasters. You can't go below a 13 due to the size of the bearing retainer. So you can go down to a 13. That's still dropping 5 teeth, which is a pretty good drop. And then I'm going to take this off to the side for a second, because I would like to show you, gentle people, the biggest pinion you can fit on here. And to be 100% transparent on it, I can show you the biggest pinion that I can fit on here, because this is the biggest pinion I've got. So that's a 45, and I don't even know. Like, you could go 50 plus before it started to interfere. Like, will that clear this? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. So you can get a 45 in there, no problem. And I just greased myself. Looking at the intermediate gear here, it looks like it's about a 45. I think they say it's a 50. Is it a 50? No, the spur gear is a 50. So whatever gear you want. You can literally on this motor plate fit the smallest pinion that I can find and the largest pinion that I can find, almost without exception, unless you've got a sealed can. So, I mean, I can go there. I can't think of anything rock crawler wise that has that kind of gearing range adjustment. Because even just going with what I have, that's 33 teeth of range. That's a lot. For testing purposes, the Ravage is going to get an 18 because that's what's fair. I want to test these two against each other, and I know what this will do. So why am I still zoomed in so much? I know what this will do. I want to see what this does in comparison. Soldering iron is heated up, so I can solder that guy on. I'll get him slapped in there, and we'll just go do a quick run around. And it'll take one hit of a line to know drag brake and low speed control. Is it this? Is it some other? Because that's pretty much all that's left in the motorless friend over here. This is the last vestige of the RTR electronics. That's the only thing left, and it's going. The servo is not a necessary replacement. I will honestly say it's got a 50 kg in there, and I love having a 50 kg, but I think that included 1523 from Reedy in a servo on axle configuration is just fine. And we don't exactly have the best mechanically advantageous angle of the steer link here. A different horn, potentially mounting the servo to the back of the servo and axle mount. There's some stuff to try. But the first thing we're going to try is our first removal of this. And I genuinely prefer this type of a motor because you can solder both leads on one side. So that's nice. I will get this thing soldered up, mounted up with an 18 on it. I've got to find an 18 that isn't this 18 because I can't get that 18 on any other motor. And then we're going to see how bad this truly is. 16 turn Team Brood installed with an 18 tooth Robinson. I notice already we can already go we can go way slower. But I do also notice I might have just accidentally landed upon an unofficial torque test in which it's powered up and I grab a wheel and I go like this. Like, how much force does it take to turn it? Because I know with an outrunner on there, you'll pop a drive shaft in half before you get him to turn. I also, while hooking that up, I had to get down to the motor bin, which is down here. Right next to the motor bin is the sticker bin, and I thought the new goal of the day for Baseline is to effectively turn this thing into a sticker bomb, because whatever part it tests, it gets a sticker. So we've already got 3 stickers in place because we definitely tested Reedy Power. Wait. We already tested Reedy Power. And it might, no offense intended to anybody that likes this motor, but I don't like it. I would take a Titan way before I took that thing. So we've already got Airtronics for this guy. We've got Hobby Wing because there's a 1080 in there. And Reedy, Team Brood, they only give you one, like how Holmes makes the sticker. It's just like a round Team Brood sticker. I think I only have 2 of them, and I can't find one. So it has tested, at least testing a Brood. So we got to get a Brood sticker on there. I'm gonna put body clips on it. Let's get out back. Let's run some lines where it's not too wet and see if this is an all of an improvement. I think 18, honestly, I think some of the problems with my least favorite Reedy might be due to an 18-tooth pinion. That is definitely a 2S pinion. I would think like maybe a 14, probably a good jump off point. we might wheel this. I might bring it back in, quick swap to a 14-tooth, and try it again and see if that helped. But which might, and if it does, like if there's a noticeable change for 18 to 14, then going to a 14 on this might make it palatable. But I have other options, so I'm not sticking with it. Let me reiterate a claim that I've made before, which is there's a lot to be learned in the drive from the shop to the course. It's like 70 feet or so, and in that 70 feet or so, I can already tell you, and I don't think this is a surprise to anyone, but that number, 16 turn, I'm not sure. I mean, it's almost an estimate, because no two 16 turns appear to be the same. This motor is slower at wide open throttle with the same gearing than the Reedy, like noticeably. Still a little brisk because an 18-tooth pinion's a little big, but also no way can you do that on the Reedy. Still, yeah, just I don't know if it's not enough torque to turn the pinion or, but oh, it's so much better. Oh my God. Yeah, that pinion's too big. But the low speed control is, oh look, I can reverse. Still feels a little punchy because I think that 18 might work with a 550, and I think we will probably find out. But like in terms of, even with the 18, hold on, is it gonna, that low tire's not in a great spot. This is a rig that definitely responds to more beans. That's an interesting reposition. Oh, I should have stayed with it. But I mean, drag brake. Well, let me get to a spot where I'm sure that it's, we'll go up this. I've been tempted to re-rock over this because it's not really that challenging to go up, but it might prove a good, yeah, with the same gearing. So, again, should not surprise anyone, but 16 turn 5 slot 540 versus 16 turn 5 slot 540. If you didn't tell somebody that what was in there and they just knew what the Reedy was, this is a massive shift in ability. The responsiveness is not comparable. So this is kind of what I was hoping that the difference would be so pronounced that I wouldn't have to get the Reedy and put it back in to be like, oh, it was just the pinion that was holding the Reedy back. No, the Reedy is being held back by its own nature, I think. That's not the best line. Yeah, there's a torque issue. And a torque issue with a rig that likes the beans. Man, I am mired in there. I don't know if I can get out. There we go. Yeah, I think the enjoyment of the beans. Yeah, he will write so easy. I think the beans are, and I'm almost positive that I mentioned this before, but if I didn't, this harkens back to the old, it was either on Grand Tour or Top Gear. Anyway, the three boys, when they were talking about the Scion FRS slash Subaru BRZ, and they were talking about why it's so great, is that the tires just aren't quite grippy enough, so it turns it into kind of a hooning machine. I'm kind of getting that vibe from the Pinseeker. Not the grippiest tire because they're super skinny, so they do have that Toyota Prius tire feel to them. They have enough grip to climb. They're super loaded with sand right now. Yeah, the low speed control improvement is ridiculous. They don't have enough pure traction to pull that rear tire up, and I feel like I should be able to manage that. I think dropping to a 14 isn't going to take out all the wheel speed. I think it'll just bring it down to a sort of controllable amount of wheel speed. I feel like 14 is the number that my brain has decided on. Let me pull that 18, pop in a 14, and try this exact same thing again. The hot swappability of that pinion has made me never want to work on a regular Stealth again. I mean, it's so good. This is unintentionally, I had no idea. This is the perfect rig. His name as baseline, his purpose in life. Oh, I need to put a Robinson sticker on there. I need to remember that. It's a perfect moniker because the platform is so ripe for it. Like that pinion swap took such a short amount of time. I didn't move the tripod. I just banked on the idea it wasn't going to start raining on me. Just left the setup sitting here. Went in, drove in, changed it, drove back out. The display hadn't even gone to sleep. So like, it literally took like a minute and a half. 14 is what feels to me on this motor about perfect. It is just a little bit quicker than walking pace. I would say 4.5-ish miles an hour. I can get a brisk walk right at about 4 miles an hour. For trailing, you might want it a little quicker, but I would recommend a lower turn in a 3 slot, which would be like what? Maybe like a 21 turn 3, no, I would say 27 turn 3 slot actually. I can't remember what 16 turn 5 slot comes out to, but let's see. Oh, look at the torque difference. I don't think you can pull that on the Pinseekers with how much mud's in them. But how much beans do we lose? Oh, it's just more manageable beans. Oh, look how much, it's so, the fine control. Like my ability to place a tire is so much better. So that 18 with the Reedy this is a trail truck. It's not a rock crawler. The 18 with the Brood, certainly better. I'm looking at tire positioning here. Kind of letting the tires position themselves. 18 on the Brood was certainly better than the Reedy, certainly. But this 14 is much better. I do realize that 3S compared to 2S is 50% more voltage. So truly and fairly, if I had gone to a 12, that would be 50% less gear. But I think I can benefit from the wheel speed a little bit. It's just a lot of wheel speed. Yeah, the self-righting was a little bit easier with the 18 because there was just so much more pop to it. But I will gladly trade that pop for the ability to, you know, moderate my speed. Right here. Yeah, and every time you got to do a pop maneuver, there's even more sand and dirt in the tires. Right there, it's just right at the limit of grip. Oh, but the amount of control in reverse is incomparably immeasurable compared to the Reedy. I'm still not super hot on 5 slot. I feel like I would rather have the torque, you know? Is it smooth? Whoa. That's pretty good. But it does still, you'll get to a point, I can just feel that, like, it's almost like hesitation, where there's just not enough torque. I think the inability to make the line is a combination of tire and condition. The tires are they are not moist, they are wet. The ground is wet, tires are getting loaded up, so I mean, you can hear how much this sounds like an old Ford pickup on an icy road. I'm getting a lot of slip there. And I am strong on the pin seekers. Unventilated, no less. But I mean, should be able to get something there, but it is murky. So, oh, look at that one. Oh yeah, some reverse crawling. Yeah. It's hard to steer. Oh, that was a proper wheel stand right there. Oh, I'm starting to feel it. The drizzle is beginning. We might have enough time to, real quick, like, I mean, look at the drag brake now. Wait, let's get the pumpkin off of that. Make sure it's somewhere hanging. Actually, you know what's even better? I won't have to move the setup very far. Let's pan over right here, and then we'll zoom in like this. We can try a little breakover. I will move myself though, watching out for the massive puddles over there. We'll try a little breakover here. This is nice and wet. Oh, it's so wet. Beans are the key. Okay, I want to get up a little higher so I can try to spin it around. Oh, wet river rock is not your guy for a ton of grip. Come on. Yeah, I'm having to climb with just throttle, but I can control that throttle now. It honestly it feels really good. All right, let's get in right here, and then you can see, okay, right there, perfection. We got light on one tire. Most of the load there is going to be on driver front. And then how can we creep it? Yeah, there's no slide until we get to where gravity just overcomes available grip. So this 5 slot on 3S with the 14 tooth, it's not electric anchor status, but this is a body messer upper. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, much like a servo testing machine, you just have to commit. Like when this guy's on its side, turn down, just full punch, and it will just whip right up. Now that's with the pin seekers. Before this really starts coming down, I'm gonna go for the quickest tire swap I possibly can. Put the scalers on here, and I think that's all we'll be able to get into this one because the weather has decided that's all we're going to get in this one. It wasn't supposed to rain today. It's 90% chance tomorrow, and when they say 90% chance, they mean it. It's probably going to rain all day tomorrow. So, oh, this guy is so good. He's so, like, just those little changes, particularly the motor. I'm just going to go out and say it. The motor is the biggest one. So if your budget is super, why am I talking when it's going to start raining? If your budget is super tight, change the motor first. Let's try it with some different tires. No real perceptible speed change on the scalers. Let me get a little side angle. I think this might be that guy. He might be that guy. I don't know if it's the body. I don't know if it's the proportions. I don't know what it is, but anything I've thrown on there looks pretty good. Oh my. Yeah, this was this was a fearful moment. The Pin Seeker is a fantastic OE tire. It might be the best out, but I feel. Get that. Oh, got some slipper clutch activated, but these are more better. Yeah, so a lot of that, the love of beans, that's a lot of it's Pin Seeker. Some of it is indeed platform. He is a fantastic roller. Like onto its wheels most of the time. But, oh, these and this is all. Actually, hold on. I was gonna say this is all stock Duratrax, but is it actually? Yes. Yes. I still cannot for the life of me remember which set of tires have the hair buns in them, but it is not these. These are just stock scalers on stock foams on SSD clones. Getting them nice and loaded up. Yeah, these, and I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but that looks good. Those look good. Let's try it up through this cut right here. Hadn't been on Oblivion in a while. Yeah, I feel like because of the 5, now I'm seeing the, drag brake still, boom, clamp. I feel like this is the side of 5 slot that is what I don't like. I feel like I have to give it a little bit more throttle than what I want to give it. And I think that's because my brain is effectively tuned to a more torque profile, whether that be brushless, outrunner, 3 slots. I mean, if you start with 3 slots and then you go to brushless and then you go to outrunners, obviously you are a person that values torque. I would not go so far as to say above all else, but torque is more of a concern than smoothness. And I do believe, yeah, it's so much better than the Reedy. It's so much, and that, like I say, $30, this is a $30 motor. You can throw a $30 motor in this and the performance, and you know what? It's so quick to hot swap a motor, it has momentarily stopped drizzling. You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna leave it just like that. Well, no, I'm going to drive it back. We're not gonna change tires. We're not gonna change stuff. We will go down to a 12. Will a 12 fit? No, it won't, because I have that Holmes 13 turn, which I think more people are likely to have on hand than the Brood. So please don't stop whizzing. Please do stop whizzing on me to give me enough time to change that motor out. And that's we'll wrap that one with a quick test of the Holmes 13 turn 540 Crawlmaster Sport. I feel like that's correct. I'm gonna change it right now. I'm barely beating the drizzle, and due to the size of the bearing recess, that 13 millimeter on the Holmes, it is a Crawlmaster Sport 13 turn 540, 5-slot. The smallest pinion you can fit is a 17. So this explains why the rig comes with an 18. So you'll want to go to a rebuildable can if you're going to do brushed, which will allow you to get down to a, what did I say, 13? And if you have anything brushless at all, even though it's not in my hands, I'm at least hoping that the SE is going to be the guy. So as one would expect, there is a ton more wheel speed. I will say, it certainly feels like it's out-torquing the Team Brood. Drag brake still very much there. Let's come around the ramp here. This is usually full of spider webs, but the rain has driven them away. Whee! That ramp's one of the first things that got built in the canyon. There's some trivia for you. Yeah, I think here's what it comes down to. Let's see how the scaler's doing this. The sole draw. Oh, and it is raining. The sole drawback that I can find to this motor, because you can get the sports in higher turn counts, and I think a higher turn count would be great. The 13 is too, for me, it's too spicy. And I would look at a Trailmaster instead for 3-slot, more torque. This is very smooth. I mean, look at the transition reverse. Drag brake is there. But in the next installment of SE Chronicles, when this rain finally decides to stop, we're gonna start putting some 3-slots in here. I don't know. I guess the smoothness is wasted on me. Yeah, there's a lot of, this is okay. All right. Here's the closer. This is wheel speed easily on par with what the Reedy had, because obviously we had a 16 turn, and that Reedy does not behave like a 16 turn 5-slot. It does not. This 13 is significantly faster. The 16, which as it should be with a 17, I mean, my back-to-back comparisons from a 5-minute window here is a 16-turn 5-slot 540 on a 14-tooth, and now a 13-turn 5-slot 540 on a 17-tooth. So yeah, this feels quicker, but there's a lot of torque to it. Drag brake is still very good. I contend that it's too hot. Like, if it had a smaller bearing nose and we could gear it down to like a 12, I think this would be pretty good. But rather than do that, just get a Trailmaster instead of a Crawlmaster, like a 27 turn or a 35 turn. And it's not that a 540 doesn't have enough torque for this rig, as it clearly does. I'm getting no slip. It's that a Reedy 540 certainly, absolutely does not have enough torque for this. Yeah, it's really good on the scalers. I get the feeling this guy is probably going to test, and straight up that, this guy is going to test and trial more tires than anyone ever has, and Daphne certainly holds that record, probably testing 14, 15 different sets of tires before landing on her deep woods. This guy's gonna try them all. And unfortunately for him, as competent as he is on these scalers and as good as they look, those are the Colonel's tires and wheels, so they got to go back to the Colonel. The Colonel build is still going on. So we will bid you a wet and rainy farewell. That's 2 tires touching. He's got like a teeter-totter. Like a teeter-totter. We bid you a wet and rainy farewell. We fortunately managed to get a couple test sequences in, because that's his job. That's his job here. The Gate Rover's job is to help me test new obstacles, and this guy is here to help me test pretty much every new part that lands in the canyon. So we hope to see you again soon. The State of the Canyon Weekly update is tomorrow. It better not be raining. I've got some more wrenching on this. I got to do something about that front brace so that I can fit bigger motors, so we can try some 540s in it in his next testing round. He's going to get 3 slots. He's going to test 540s. We're going to find whatever motor solution works best for the Element and the Enduro SE / Sendero baseline. For baseline, we're going to find out what works for best for baseline. And we've got that to do. So get to doing whatever it is that y'all need to do. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. We got to get the equipment. We got to get the equipment and the peoples out of the rain. I just want to keep driving him though. He's so fun. And I mean, the Scalar's a good tire. Yeah, so much wheel speed. But like with those Scalars on there, it's all usable. Oh, okay. Before this turns into yet another installment, we're gonna wrap it up. The controller's starting to get wet. This was a pretty good one. If the weather had been better, it would have been even better. I hope I've provided you a little more insight into the slow and steady modificatory schedule of the Enduro SE. Rolling. That body is gonna see some stuff. It does look good with all the wheels. Leave a comment below if you have any comments, questions, concerns, whatever. Subscribe if you haven't. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're okay with it costing you something, we do have channel memberships. It helps me build stuff like that. So that'll do it. I feel like I've gone on long enough, and that's a rare thing for me to say, because I can go on at length forever. Oh, I'm getting the sign from the guy. I'm getting the wrap it up signal. So thanks again for the very last time in this one, everybody. We've done the 8-minute outro once again. Looking forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, as always, do your very best to have a good one, everybody.